Mr. UVS Rao, thanks once again for all those thoughts that you offered in the last half an hour. Um, well, this is the bill, that that Neil Matthews offered. Interesting that it says it's zero consumption. So obviously, a situation like this can be brought about into every house, every building. I know in this case, Neil Matthews lives in a layouted sort of enclave. He has a single family home. How do we achieve this in apartments is one? How do we achieve this in many more homes is another that we all have to ask. In a note this morning that Ganesh Shankar, who is here now, and who is CEO of a company called FluxGen, who are into AI meters, digitization of water monitoring and so on, he was saying that residential is not a space I'm comfortable with. I have not approached it yet. And I can tell you he typifies in many ways. Many of the people who are in the green solution providing area across the country who work B2B and not B2C. And to us here, the WOW forum itself is a C2C, a citizen to citizen initiative, and it's not a B2C initiative, as we all know. So in the last, say, 15, 20 years, what has happened is that most of these, solutions for energy efficiency or water efficiency have remained within that realm of only one business offering it to another business. It can be an industry, it can be a hotel, and so on. And if you look at the reasons for it, it's obvious. It is easier to sell an idea to a person who understands money than to somebody who will do it only because it is told by his committee or whatever else in an apartment. In the residential space, people do not understand the effectiveness of water saving. No matter how much you talk to them, like we did the last session also, they come back to talking about, well, the budget is too high, we don't have the money to spend. They don't realize that if they spend 100 rupees, they get that 100 rupees back at a return of about 50% and more. Now, this is the central challenge. To summarize that challenge, one, we find that people who are in the business of energy efficiency or water efficiency solution providing do not want to go to the residential sector because they find it very difficult to make any impact and to get a sale closure. The second is, on the other side, the customer himself or the water consumer doesn't at all seem to understand that there is a saving, and he only looks at it as a budget. Anyone who wants to respond to this, please. This is an amazing bill. Current bill is 1256. Previous whatever reading was 1256. And Neil Matthews wrote back, in addition to this, in the group, that for the next 90 days he is stacked for water. He is water rich. I thought it's a great start. I mean, to have as a thought for this meeting. And therefore, I put this up. Good evening, good morning, Mary. Thank you for being here today. And at short notice, you have accepted our request to be presenting. I am today on a smartphone, thanks to some network challenge, so you will not see me visually. But good morning again.
Can I come in, sir?
Yes, please.
Now, point number one, you said Neil Matthews is residing in a complex. Is it a complex comprising of villas?
Yeah, it's a layout of sorts where there are individual homes. Yes.
Okay. So probably what he must be doing is the entire complex might be having an incoming Kaveri water line where they are receiving water and distributing to various villas or say individual houses. Now, in the case of Mr. Neil, what he must have been doing is probably he is collecting the rainwater coming from. The point number one is the complex itself is not having any rainwater harvesting activity as a whole. Looks like that. Neil Matthews has taken special interest probably to see
that's
that
right.
It's falling
Yes.
is harvested either through, say, I think looks like he has collected it in the underground sump with probably some filtration.
That's right.
So this is a beautiful case where say if he says he can he need not pay for water for the next 90 days, something like 3 months. Now, this is something which he should propagate into with his other feeds in the same area. That is, has he done it? That is another question.
Well, in fact, he had said earlier, to respond to your question, he had said earlier once, maybe a month ago, that in his own enclave, he has not been able to convince people to install proper rainwater harvest systems. They just don't listen to him, he had said.
Okay.
That's
Right.
So in that case, sir, this bill should be the game changer. He has to broadcast this bill in their whatever WhatsApp groups they have.
Exactly.
And yeah.
See,
That's right. That is one of the possibilities.
sir,
You see, yes,
can
yes,
I come in?
Mamta. Yes, please.
See, I also provided, Neil is also part of our farmland only. My experience said that off late, since BWSSB is going and restlessly cutting the connection of Kaveri water, people have started using it. What he said is correct. In my only layout, I can see I don't get tankers. Mine also zero. In fact, excess water, I don't know what to do with the rainwater harvested water also, because it just goes, I have a small sump. So, but I'm not getting any tankers, unlike others. But people are not ready to, they see, they appreciate, but they're not ready to implement. It's a question of mindset, sir. I don't know how to approach them and tell them. But those who are interested, they will do it, irrespective of whether it will cost them a lot, whether they, the sump is far away from where filter is being put, plumbing, is going to cost them a lot. They do it. But on the whole, rainwater harvesting is for individual homes, because STPs we cannot. But individual homes, rainwater is very good, sir. I also don't take tankers at all.
Mamata madam, I have one question. You are saying you are having excess rainwater because your sump capacity is less. What are you doing with the excess rainwater?
Sir, my layout is it's a very different. The thing is that one is wastewater, and I'm storing it in the tank. So after one few rains, there will be no water. Then that is utilized for washing the place outside, and I have some plants, so I'll do that. Use it for that. Otherwise, I can't do it because stormwater drain system is not very good here. It's still not. It is not being handed over. 25. It's a 1985 layout, but still BWSSB is not there here.
My concern is you are saying you are having excess rainwater. The reason being the capacity, holding capacity of the underground tank is less, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 5,500 and 2,000 is 2,500 is tankers upstairs. So I have around this one.
Why don't you say channelize the excess water to a rainwater harvesting structure?
Sir, our layout is not, many of the houses are not there, so it actually gets into the ground.
Does it go to the road?
Yeah, because it is not concreted, and we have lot of empty sites. So the contour is such that water retention is very less, very, very less.
Okay. Lot of people keep on saying, why should we discharge the water into the ground? I am against it. I am saying, see, the more you put the water to percolate into the ground, the better. The reason is that the quality of the water is going to increase. So
yes,
what if you have a rainwater harvesting structure where you see that all the rainwater is getting into the rainwater harvesting structure and goes into the lower strata of the earth, so that the quality of the water will improve. And adjacent to a borewell, okay, you will be spending some money on pumping the water, but you are ensuring that the quality of the water is going to increase. If you are saying,
yes, sir, it has. I have mine is only 350 depth borewell, and it is a surface water for mine. Mine is surface water, so it's very tasty also. My water is very tasty. So that is true, sir. That is, in my case, in this place, water is getting into the earth. It is recharging the groundwater. So the
No, even without doing any rainwater harvesting structure per se, so to say, the soil is percolating the water as it is into the ground. That's what you are saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then there is no necessity to say, have a separate rainwater harvesting structure. Now, is it the same case even in a flooding situation?
But here we don't get, because we have a lot of trees, we have a lot of empty sites, we have a lot of. I have not seen any flooding here, but yes, next to that, you must be reading that Anjanapura, full flooding is happening, sir. Because everywhere, wherever it has been concreted, the pedestrians aside, and they have removed the trees because of the metro. We are having lot of, mostly in the place where commercial buildings are there. I see that it's totally the entrance is flooded. Everywhere it is flooded. Wherever the commercial complexes are more. Residential, I see less flooding.
Okay.
At least in our area.
Mr. Rao, can I step in?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please. Out of deference to both Mary Eggert and Dr. Raj Rajaram, who are present now,
Speak, yeah.
well, I thought we will invite them, as we spoke earlier, to see that they are able to offer us insights into what Global Waterworks has been doing and why are they fascinated with the India Water Challenge and what they can do to, sort of cement these relationships with us. I wrote to Mary only about 4 or 5 hours ago at extreme short notice. She was very gracious. She accepted and said that, well, she will make a presentation. I have heard, and Usha has also heard, I think, the fascinating aspects of what they do at Global Waterworks. And I thought it would be useful for this very core leaders at WOW to listen to them and gain insights into what they do. Have I captured things well, Mary? Good morning to you again. Mary, you have to unmute. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here and to see Raj here too. Early morning,
Yes.
people.
Yes. Good morning to you.
30 here. You're great partners, so we appreciate your reaching out at any notice.
Thank you. You are a 24 by 7 person, not 25 by 7 person, probably on water. Yeah. All right. Well, can I then request you to take the floor and see what you want to offer as insights, perspectives to all the people here?
I'm
Yes.
happy to. Here, I'll just, I thought it might be useful to go through back to our history, but then I'm going to introduce you to the platform that we now use. And let me just make sure this is in presentation mode here. So, so Global Waterworks is now in its 6th year, and Dr. Raj, who is here, is helping us. He is heading up our fundraising committee. So we're thrilled to have him involved because of the many contacts he has, and he also led Tetra Tech in his time with India, but now he is leading efforts in India and Africa, and I'll have him tell you more about that shortly. But the Global Waterworks vision came about, actually, I'll just give you some background. I started in water when I was in 6th grade. I lived on a river, and behind the river was piled with 30 feet and 60 feet wide phosphates, literally piles. A mountain of phosphates was sitting behind our home on the river. And at that point, my teacher asked if anyone wanted to participate in a conservation contest, give a speech to the world about what was needed in water or in any element of our environment. And I immediately raised my hand. I knew I had a really great story and didn't have an answer for how to solve that, and started speaking about water. I was 11 years old right then, and around the state talking about how much we needed to care for our water because we couldn't have those types of pollutants around and expect children to be healthy or for people to enjoy our water or to be drinking it. And the Clean Water Act in the Environmental Protection Agency is the US organization that addresses water, then implemented controls, and those pollutants disappeared. And I disappeared from water for about 25 years and focused my career on technologies and promoting technologies that I thought made the world just a brighter place. And so communications technologies, all of the internet technologies, and really enjoyed that because I could see the life change that was occurring. But then returned to water to learn when some friends invited me to work on Pakistan water, delivering water and jobs in Pakistan. And that sounded like a very appealing effort because the women would use the RO water and deliver it on bikes to the homes and be paid for that. And people would have water and the women would have jobs. But it landed me at a conference that is right here in Chicago, one of the world's leading Water Environment Federation technology conferences that showcases the water technologies and innovations that allow for everyone to have clean and abundant waters. And a speaker there said by the year 2030, we will have a gap between the supply and the demand of water, a gap that means that 40% of us will not have the water we need. And I just gulped. I said, you've got to be kidding me. That can't be possible. No one's talking about water problems here in the Midwest. We're based right in Chicago near the Great Lakes. And then I did some research, went to the engineering firm and the university an hour north in Milwaukee, and they confirmed that the amount of water available today doesn't meet the growing population if we look at it as a finite amount of water. But that motivated us to start Global Waterworks, acknowledging that there were solutions, and they say the future is already here. Often it's just unevenly distributed. And what that means is you look at Israel and you see abundant water and abundant growth potential for that country because they've managed to address the needs to steward water well. Same with Singapore. You see a country that was dependent on Malaysia and knew that it needed to have independence from water. And my arrival in India was just 18 months ago, where I got to experience Bangalore and Hyderabad and see the amazing efficiency with which you operate. Could not believe the way the little petty cars would navigate so quickly amongst each other and never crash. And everyone seemed to know how to work with a system that always remain positive in what we could focus upon impacting or doing well. So I really enjoyed and feel a tremendous affinity, Dr. Hari and Usha and Ganesh, with India and all of whoever else is on the call today. So we do feel that our relationship with Wow Action Forum is very important as we look at how we can advance these solutions that are in existence today. And what our journey has taken us on, I thought would be helpful for you to know, so you know the resources that we can have. And what I'm going to do is go briefly through this and then into our community, so you can tap the resources and also make that community your own, because it is really a very flexible community. And the community does include or references these different organizations, all of whom we've collaborated with and have unique talents and abilities to offer, from the plumbers to those who are reusing water, to those who are innovating, like the water tower. We have a demonstration facility now in Georgia that's going to showcase all of the newer solutions that make water work. But the challenges that we discovered, and you may discover, is that the water market is a very inefficient market. It's beautifully run in every local area, but there are silos, like Bangalore doesn't necessarily talk to Chicago or to Hyderabad even. And so innovation happening in each area may not be seen. And we also have a problem with people not being digitally connected. They're managing pipes, they're managing watersheds. They're not necessarily going online or sharing information in the way that the high-tech sector does. And I invite your thoughts on this after this presentation, because we may be missing things that have happened because you're advancing things more quickly in India. But in the US, we saw infrastructure investments planned because we haven't paid attention to what's underground. We don't see it. So about $1 trillion in investments are 2 trillion. And where would they be made without intelligent infrastructure? But the beautiful thing is where you do have intelligent infrastructure, you have partners collaborating like they do in the IT space with technology, with communications channels and the pipes and the natural water resources. And the generation of workers is retiring. We have about 50%, 30 to 50% who will retire in the next 50 years, which means knowledge that they have may walk out the door. And the new generation is digitally savvy. They're online 24/7, as you all know. And I think you all attract a very large group of youth, which we're very excited to be able to support through our community. But there are a few places online where water operations managers can go to learn about proven water technologies. And that's why Global Waterworks set about this vision of connecting drops of interest for waves of impact through our online forums. And this wave actually is all hexagons. It's all shaped like water. And that's our vision, that we would all be moving in concert. And what's beautiful is that the partners that we work with, the Smart Water Networks Forum, has actually identified, and they have a very active and growing group now in India that has identified the water technologies. And there's a physical layer, there's sensors and controls like SCADA, like some of the things you all are implementing, and then communications technologies on top of that, and then analytics so that we can have a big picture, as you're showing, Raj or Dr. Hari, the simple meter read is wonderful, but what happens if a whole city sees all of the meter reads and the comparisons and where the leaks are, and then can focus their investments in the right way? So, so that's our vision. And I think someone's voice, if they could just sounds we're in good shape. So the technology provides us with a path to resilience. It allows us to see and gain visibility so that we can have security. We know what water resources we have. You were just commenting on the affordability. We can avoid waste so that we can meet budgets, and we can more efficiently treat water, and then and also sustain water resources. And what that means is that the old model of adoption, 10 to 30 years looking at permitting for water and installation of pipes, can be reduced to 1 to 3 years when we have a turnkey, digital assets and monitoring solutions that can be implemented in 4 to 8 weeks. And I'll show you what some of those look like. The quick wins we wanted to share with the industry so that they're aware are involving technology. And one is a simple sewer monitors, which allow you to see what's going on in the sewer so you don't have overflows, or when a level is increasing, and you can send out, or when a pipe collapses before it happens, or when significant rainfalls might create a problem. And we're working with a company called Smart Cover and a few other companies that provide that for cities, giving them peace of mind for their utility managers. Another thing that is possible through your meter monitoring, the affordability with customer engagement in water. What most people know about their water is what happens at the meter, but that's just at the door. They don't know how they're using water. And so we're working with a group, and similar to, I think, some of the applications you have, that allows for consumers to enter their data and provide additional insights. So the utility as well as the homeowner can identify the opportunities for savings and actually capture those. And that device looks like a simple handheld piece that involves about 30 questions. And it's surprisingly not a meter. It can be implemented for about $2 per household and enlighten everyone in the system. Another piece of water that was surprising to us was that this idea of reuse and the recyclability of water. Well, everyone says we have a limit, and only 3 out of 5 of us will have a glass of water by 2030 if we don't do something. the truth is water is infinitely recyclable and it can even come from the air. And so Dr. Raj is very familiar with, and you're talking about the rainwater capture opportunities. Well, in San Francisco, they have a beautiful model where the buildings are resilient and self-contained, where they're capturing the rainwater, they're using the gray water and black water, and actually, creating storage within buildings so that they can be independent. And the technology that we had the pleasure to work on for about 2 years is a new innovation that allows you to even capture water in the desert. It's called water harvesting, and it involves a specific silica or desiccate that does bring the water from the air and then can be mineralized to a perfect pH. It's a beautiful thing. And that really got us excited and made us aware that 5 to 6 times the amount of water in all the rivers of the world exists in the air. And we have not tapped that. And one of the reasons for that is because we did not, it's not so energy efficient, but it's also because we haven't been looking at water as a complete system. We've been looking at our wastewater plants, and we've been looking at our water plants, and we've been looking at what's right in front of us, the groundwater or the surface water, but we haven't been talking to each other about this recyclability. And that's something that's sort of evolved. And Raj can probably add comments on that. Raj, what are your thoughts on that? Our transition from siloed efforts to a one water system?
Oh, that has to be a totally integrated water system. The United Nations got this concept going 30 years ago, saying don't think water as fresh water, clean water, or wastewater. It's all water. So if you look at water availability, you have to look at all the wastewater and how you can recycle it back to drinking water standards. And technologies are there, communities are doing it. Like Mary said, we're all in silos. We don't know what another community is doing and what successful rainwater harvesting techniques happen in Chennai are not known in other parts of the country. So these things are slowly breaking down, these barriers. But we have to have these platforms like GWW, WOW, Action Forum, to get people connected, because the end users, if they're not connected with technologies, how they can manage the water efficiently, they will keep doing it the same old way and then complain that we don't have water or our water bill is going up. There are so many ways to recycle and reuse water. And the way we throw water away, like RO water thrown away, that is criminal. We cannot just use gray water, again, throw it into the sewer where it gets mixed with the black water, and it is harder to treat. So segregating these streams of gray water separately, which is not very harmful, there's no pathogens, no harm in there. It is not clean for drinking, but can be used for so many other purposes. So the gray water reuse has to be completely rethought and worked so that that becomes the backbone of the water availability, and clean water, which we need for cooking and drinking. That is a very small amount of the water we use that can be treated to drinking water standards for health. So these are things that have to become the culture of a community. And wastewater, also the technologies are available with filtration, with treatment systems, and constantly there's innovation going on to get the cost down and make it more efficient. And there are centers around the world, including the International Center for Clean Water right in Chennai, a few hours from Bangalore. And that's a national leader right now. And they are collaborating with firms in Japan, with firms in US to come up with better and better technologies for Indian market. So all these are available. Unless we all connect, work together, we will never solve this water crisis. And the platform that I heard of Mary's platform in February when I was attending this Water World Water and Waste Symposium, Management Symposium, and immediately connected with her. I said, Mary, how can I bring my connections to Global Waterworks? And how can we help people who are desperate for clean water, are dying because of lack of water in India and parts of Africa? And that is what Our goal is to find these places, find resources locally, find resources internationally, and let us all work together to make sure that this basic need for clean water use is available to everyone, not just a few privileged ones who can pay a lot of money to get that water. Thank you, Mary, for whatever
Yes.
you've beautifully laid out everything here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, Dr. Raj, he doesn't exaggerate. He literally reached out to me immediately. And since then, as a result of his reaching out, we have not been fishing and solo operators anymore. We feel like this, it's time to build a network. It's time to work together and come, into community to actually make these to resolve these water issues. And so I'm going to bring you into the community. And just 1 second, I need to
just to show the tech showcase, Mary, the number of companies we have that we've show their technologies, showcase that.
I know. Just 1 sec. Yep, I will here. So we'll show you the tech showcase. This is what we did. This information that I just shared is in the community under my vision here, but Raj just mentioned we want to look at what we have for the tech showcase, and here is what we've done is we realized after 5 years of working on water and representing specific technologies that we're not going to solve the global water crisis by representing individual technologies, that we all need to come together. And what the tech showcase does, and tell me, I'm not sure if you can you see my video screen coming up, YouTube, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so then I'll show you.
There's a crowd. There's a crowd.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
So welcome and thank you for joining us for another.
Here. This is just 1 minute.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so Raj mentioned the tech showcase is so important, and what we were just our foundation is in technology, as you saw, because that's why we believe together we can solve the global water crisis in this generation, because technology together with the people and the local applications make that possible. And Raj has firsthand experience with that. And he in fact gave a presentation, and I was so thrilled to see how you work with technology, and has produced an abundance of literature and research and connections. So let me just move us back to the technology showcase, and we'll get in there. So you can all become members and see what's happening. And all you need to do is enter globalwaterworks.org to be part of the community. And look who you will find as soon as you get in here. You'll see India's water warrior, Kalpana, is one of our features. And oops, I'm sorry, my screen's a little finicky this morning, but we share her story, and we also have your recent Water Action Forum stories in here. And what's nice is everyone can come in and then understand what's going on in India, and also get involved with your Water Action Forum meetings, which we hope that they will participate in, and we will bridge our, I apologize, I'm having a little bit of problem
But if you go here, you will find it, the Global Waterworks Tech Showcase. And clicking on that, 100+ companies come up, which many of them I didn't know, being in the water field for so long, because now I'm in Chicago, I didn't know what's happening in LA or what's happening in other parts of the world. And this really brought it all to me together, that, you know, these are wonderful people. Now, my mission is to connect these people who are doing some good work here to people who need it there. So that is where, you know, the connectivity comes. And
and also, like Raj said, it's about knowing the technologies. So we have the pleasure of working with someone who actually wrote the book Smart Grid for Water and has been studying all of the water technologies, led the movement for reuse. And if you go in, you'll see his foundational work is here, 106 of the technologies that have been proven, that are making a difference: Hydroloop, reusing water in the home, Valor Water, which is handling sensors, analytics, water fleet, delivering mobile water. SysBio is very active in India, restoring watersheds through a combination of aerators and microbiological treatment. But it's beautiful technologies. And when you go look at something, you can also find, they have a case study. Typically, they have the description of the company. You can go and look or drill down and find an example. So you're not having to search the world over to find solutions that work. Instead, you can come right into the showcase and see things that others have used, along with downloading their case studies, so you can educate your peers. And that's sort of one of the values we bring to the community. The other thing that I think is very important is that we have opportunities for collaboration. We believe it's about connecting, communicating, and collaborating. And so you as members, and all of you are welcome to join. You simply go to this URL, globalwaterworks.org, at the top here. And then you submit your email. It's free, no cost. And immediately, if you have your location settings on, you'll see the members near you. You'll see the top groups of our community, Next Generation. We have a regular group praying for water. Raj is also a meditator and a faith-filled person, but we have investing in water, marketing water resources. And then we have things that are featured, and I can change these, you know, if there's something that you guys want featured, like your action forum the day before, I could put that in here. And look who's here this week, the World of Water highlights. We have Raj sharing. This is a video that you all put together, a beautiful little clip summarizing the thoughts. And I chose to break that down into the individual people. But then every week we have a newsletter that shares, we were talking about World Water Week, Dr. Hari, and that was a beautiful presentation. We have the investors shared their roadmap for water. We have the woman who won the Junior Stockholm Water Prize here. And then we have technologists talking about what's going on every Thursday. We do an interview of them, but we welcome you to join. We'd love to open it up and hear what you all would like to see in the community. But just want to point out two additional things. The events calendar is a global events calendar, and almost every day you can find something you can sign on for and participate in and meet other water people. And then we have specific groups that you can join, including our India Water and Waste Management. And there are 140 members here, and a great level of detail on some of the activities going on in India, including the size of the market and what some collaboration partners we have who are able to reach 600 different churches across India, as well as 350 cities, and help us educate, all in India, and also market out people who want to be entering India on the process. But for you all to get started and really feel familiar with the platform, a very simple journey to Global Waterworks Ambassador takes just half an hour, and it gives you a tour. it allows you to create your profile and invite other change agents to be part of your efforts. And I think, I apologize, I think I went a little bit over time here. So I'm just going to.
But again, I challenge Ganesh to spend some time at the site, understand it completely, and share it with others in your group, Ganesh. And that will help them really take advantage of what the wonderful resources that Mary has put together and how we can, share stories and connect with each other. Okay, that's it.
Sure,
We leave the
sure, sir.
meeting to you to
Yes.
run it because I have to leave in about 5 minutes. But no, I think this is great. Even in the last minute, thinking of us, Hari, is important because we are all working together. Just have only one goal in life here right now is get people some clean water and manage the water resources well so that we don't run out of water and then scramble like Cape Town did. And then when you're in a crisis, you ration, then fights happen. All of those things are avoidable, and let us avoid them. Thank you.
Very nice. And I'm amazed that, with as little notice, you must have woken up and seen this mail, Mary. And you came in and you have presented it so well. And I'm so happy that the very core of the member leaders, citizen member leaders of WOW are present today. Even if the number is small, I can tell you that these are all extremely committed is one thing, but people who bring reach in their own ways. And Dr. Raj was very perceptive in, gunning at Ganesh Sandbag. I will ask him to see if he wants to first speak, and then maybe Neil Matthews, we missed you. You came in a little later. We talked about you for some time, Neil, and we showed everybody the little, the bill that you had sent to us and how you are water rich for the next 90 days. So yeah. And this is the man, Mary and Raj. Neil Matthews is the man who has harvested as much water. And for the next 90 days, he says, I'm super rich. I don't need water from the outside,
Yeah.
And so Ganesh,
More
you should
people could
respond.
say that, yeah.
Yes. Before Dr. Raj leaves, Ganesh, can you respond to what he asked you?
Yes, sir. So I always say this, information is king. And in today's world, we are noticing this, whoever is information is running a unicorn startups, right? And there is a good amount of information. I'm also browsing through over here on my large screen on the globalwaterworks.org website. So we will work out a way like how to link this with WOW. The WOW microsite, what we have, and then we will take this initiative forward. And also, absolutely, like I agree with what Dr. Raj and Mary said. It is time to not to attack in silo. It has to be attacked in a group. Water, even though it's a finite resource, it's infinitely recyclable. So. And what better than now we are like sitting geographically distributed with each other and we are talking the same language, right? So just pray, just hope, and use all our reach so that we make a lot of other people more knowledgeable on these stuffs, and they also be like converts who think about water conservation and bring in a lot of change. See, in India there is a concept, okay, so there is a construction company in Bangalore which has a name environment with it, but they don't do anything on the environment, right? In India we have a concept where we say painting green makes us green, which is absolutely wrong, right? And there are a lot of apartments in Bangalore who plant a lot of green trees, green plants, which consume a lot of water without thinking they are causing more damage to the environment rather than conserving it.
Sure.
So we have to bring all such people and a lot of enthusiasm on the conservation.
Ganesh, before Raj leaves, I thought I will request him to possibly respond to what Mary spoke about when she said that there are 140 members in India, from India. How do we get them also to be part of this, or we become part of whatever they are at the GW? Is something that we need to think about. Any insights on that?
I think Shama can do it. Shama has really collected this over the last, 4 or 5 years. And before they started doing the water and waste management conferences every year, the third one they did this year, they have been collecting. Prakasham has been going to India, ever since he retired in 2003. Right. And his passion has been, how do I get clean water to my village? to the poorest people around my village, all that he has accomplished a lot through Rotary International and Rotary neighborhood that he works. And so he has lots of universities that have young people who are interested in this. And he and Shama, I will challenge them also to connect all those 140 members and more to WOW, so that there is a lot of interaction like you saw, and that one person from Vizag was so excited to get involved and talk to WOW. So these things can happen. It'll take time, but we will make it happen. And I will personally make a phone call to Prakasham today and say, Prakasham, you have to connect all the local WWA members in India to W and work together. Okay, I'll have it.
And
so with that, I'll take leave. Okay. And
yes.
I wish you all the best. And so send us a notice 1 to 2 days before. And even if you're not speaking, you just want to listen and what people are doing. And if I can interject a word or two to encourage and motivate people, I'd love to do it, because I'm at the stage of my life where I want to see young people motivated and achieve the impossible, and it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Thank you, Mary.
To the rest of you, we have put up Dr. Raj's profile on the chat box. You could read that. There is a more detailed profile of Global Waterworks, as well as of Mary Eggert, who is the founder of DWW. Ganesh Shankar and Suresh Prakash are recent entrants to the WOW fold. Thank you for being here. Can I request Ganesh Shankar to speak up, a little bit in response to what Mary has offered, and all those companies that she's talking of at the, who are members of DWW are not simply from the United States. They are also from other parts of the world, as she, explained to you all. Now, how we bring about, synergies with such companies. Like she said, there is that SIS dot something or the other who are working on watersheds in India, and watersheds is a very, very serious need, as you all know. Ganesh Shankar, I know you come from a space of AI and digitization of water and so on. However, in response to what she spoke about, would you want to say something?
Firstly, Dr. Hari, thank you so much for inviting me for this discussion. I should just say that while Mary was presenting about Global Waterworks, I just registered, joined the movement, and I saw some very amazing resources out there. And this is truly enlightening. I mean, had I not come today, probably I would have missed this. And yes, I think I also agree with what Ganesh Shanbuk said, right? I mean, we all have to come together. And that's something what Mary is already doing through Global Waterworks and iTech Foundation through WOW Action Forum you are doing. So I can't agree more on that we all have, because the crisis is going out of control today, right? And the least we could do is come together and understand how we can solve. Coming to the solution space, I really think I'll be exploring all the solution that is there in Global Waterworks and the consortiums on various people, and try to see how some of the solution can work together, whether it's in India or in the US, and try to see if some of these problems that are facing. I mean, one of the most important things that I do on a daily basis is talk to the end users.
Okay, before you say more, in order to set the context for the rest of them, and for Mary in particular, let me introduce Ganesh Shankar to you. There isn't a profile coming up on the chat box. He is a master's in computer sciences and all those wonderful things that I don't understand anything about, from the Indian Institute of Science, which is one of those premier institutions in India. In the last, I don't know, maybe about 5 years or so, he has been heading this company called FluxGen. And the company has essentially been working on digitizing and ensuring that water monitoring is done across the board for industry segments. Have I said it right, Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on. Now you can continue. Yeah.
I should definitely say what I have learned in water is because of people like you, and I ended up solving problems and using tech to people who understand it very well, like the companies like Titan Jewelry Division, which was one of our first customer, which the problem they were facing in terms of managing their water, whether it is in terms of leakage, wastage, excessive usage, or even in terms of downtime in their water treatment plants, or various other problems that we understood through this meetings with them, right? Empathy mapping. So we ended up codifying the solution through application of Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. So I think this whole field of water in terms of solution itself is spread across, and we need to bring together. So what I understand from the website and what Mary presented is that there are already a lot of solutions. Instead of trying to build new solution, try to see how we can engage on a conversation with some of these solution providers and try to enable the end user get these solutions, right? So I mean, yeah, that's one of the things. That is my primary observation from what I see about this whole group. And I would definitely like to reach out to some of these people and maybe you like to understand. I mean, because we hear a lot of problems from end users. As I told you, my understanding is mostly from the industry side, mainly because of the conversation that I have with the industry guys. So, when there are solutions, whether it's India or outside, I would like to bring it to the notice. If there's a way to bring it to the bring it to notice, one is of course I'll reach out to you saying that this customer, like one of our customers says Britannia, right? They want this. They are having this problem with water, and they are trying to do it in a very hard manner. And can you tell me if there is something that is available in your consortium? And if there's something that we can do for them, and if there's something that I can route you through, or if there's an introduction that I can do, or if you think that I see this problem in so many of our industries, so let us see if I can actually work together in ensuring the end users get the solution. Their modalities can be discussed. That's details, right? That we can always have. So, but what is very amazing is that. I always hear the problems, but today I'm seeing so many solutions out there in this website. Right. And I know you're bringing a lot of players. So I definitely think these are my initial thoughts from what I hear.
Mary, your response?
Hi, Ganesh. Before Mary goes in, right? So, because he just talked about his experiences on the industry front on all these things, right? So, just wanted to understand his views on like how to tackle this problem of the ever-growing apartments in Bangalore. Like, what are the suggestions which come from his mind?
Ganesh, can I rephrase it another way? Maybe Ganesh Shankar, to you now. Ganesh the second, I will say, like emperors now. She showed this wonderful slide where she talked about, on one side of the slide, she had who we know, and on the other side, she put up this bunch of things on who we need to know, right? And maybe I can request Mary to put that slide up again, to refresh everybody's mind. And if I go back to conversations I've had with you, Ganesh Shankar, I would say that you are not here for your business. You're here to try and see how this can become a movement. You are young, you have another 20 years of good working years of life ahead of you. And I know you want to do something about it. Maybe you want to, show your face too, while you respond to that question on who we know today, who we need to know. Ganesh Shankar. There it is. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I'm not in a well-lit area, so I don't know if I'm.
We can see your faces. Wonderful. So you see, we know this, but when she put this up, it's very vivid. It's very stark. It suddenly reminds you of all the numbers of people we don't know how to connect with. There is Mr. Suresh Pai here, who is the action group chairperson for apartments. And every fortnight, like any soldier, he goes at it. He calls the meeting. He calls people to see that they attend. Very few attend, but he doesn't give up. Is he there? I think he's there. Maybe he just dropped out on the network, but I know he's one of the very, very diligent people attending every session. Mr. Sitapati Rao is here. He is 78 years young, and he still consults on rainwater harvesting. Mary spoke about Hyderabad, a city that she visited about 18, 19 months ago. He comes from that city, and he has in one apartment of, I think, about 700 flats or so. He's done a whole set of things, and he will speak about, Mr. Rao will speak about that. So my point is, we are not able to connect into all these people on the right side, Shankar. What do we do about it? I'll call you Shankar since there are two Ganeshas.
Yeah. So firstly, I should say I come here to figure that out as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So
that's a nice answer. Honest, very honest. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. Suresh,
if I had to give a bit of thoughts on what are the possible, I mean, what is on top of my head, is like maybe we should bring all the people who need solution in one place, right? I mean, today we are bringing all the solution provider in. That is, you are doing an amazing job, right? I mean, we are getting all the solution providers and making sure that they talk to each other. And I also saw in the previous meeting, you had the chairman of all the apartments association, Bangalore Apartment Association, right? So you're doing that. So what is important, I feel, is like, firstly, making them aware that you're again doing it, right? Making them aware that these are the solutions. So this demand to supply kind of a connection has to be done more rigorously. And I don't know, I mean, currently how, because people are driven mainly by, I mean, economics of things, and water is so poorly priced that many times people don't take that action, right? So I definitely think one of the activities should be at a policy level. I mean, there has to be nudges on the policy level that people start seeing that, okay, there is a drastic change in something if they do conservation or they do the treatment. So there should be a step change in something. If they default on that, it should be a step change. I'm not so politically this one, but I did hear one of the state governments was planning to do something like that. If they consume only this much amount of water, they don't have to pay the bill. And if they consume even one drop more than that, they have to pay a humongous amount. I'm not saying that has to be done, but something on those lines, right? And even apartment associations, for that matter, like, in order to bring Ganesh on book's point, right? If there are nudges that says that if you do something like this, the pricing is this. We internally do a pricing in apartment, not based on external pricing. Within the apartment, we do an extremely different kind of pricing. We are very progressive in nature, and we give some examples of those. These case studies, if we build for next 1 year, I think that's my answer to your question, Dr. Ari. If we build good case studies of innovative, I'm not even want to talk about technology. Though I come from technology, I don't want to tell technology solution, but talk about some innovative nudges, which is done internally, whether it is inside a community of apartment or where it's a commercial facility. They do a very different kind of pricing for the sake of conservation of water, for the better treatment of water. It is like you are in a country, you have a policy, but you are building a separate policy within a fence. Could be a possibility. I don't know. I'm open to discussion on that. I mean, if that is even possible, if it is possible, if it can be implemented, and these thrive towards a better water governance, and all these people can actually get inspired. The drops that you're talking about get inspired by some of these case studies, and they all come together. I don't know if this was
very lovely idea. Very lovely idea. Let me tell you that in 2009, I think, in one of the apartments I created, I had put this up and said anybody who consumes over 20,000 liters in a month will pay twice the amount that they were paying to the association. And that money will be used as revenue by the association for the good of the common infrastructure. That rule lasted for no more than 2 months. They went into a furor and they said, who on earth are you guys to come and tell us what we should be doing? Okay, but I'm not giving up. There are wonderful people, and in the next edition of WOW, 2 Saturdays from now, we have a person from the building industry sector who is going to speak about how he has managed to do this. What you're talking about, he has already managed to do in an apartment of 128, flats, and about 400 people staying there. So these are all possible and will happen into the future. And before I ask Mary to sort of respond to what you said, Mr. Sitapati Rao, you have been often, chiding us for not, let us say, taking up enough, giving enough time for technology matters. You heard today Mary Eggert speaking on that wonderful tech showcase, which has about 98 or 100 people, dispensing many solutions across the board on water. What is your take on that, Mr. Rao?
Yes, sir. Any new technology which is readily adaptable by any association or any organization should be the first priority. Now, for instance, sir, when WOW was started about 9 months or 10 months back, we were emphasizing mainly on rainwater harvesting. Down the line, after 6 months or 9 months, we have realized using the grey water has got more potential than rainwater. Now, when you say using the grey water or black water or a combined treatment plant, there are so many technologies available. So naturally, see, we have to freeze the kind of technologies which are suitable for individual needs. I can tell you the STP suitable for a villa may not be suitable for a housing complex. So where should we locate the treatment plant is also another question. So I tell you very recently, just last week, where I did some technical consulting for a vendor who has been asked to put up a sewage treatment plant. The condition given to him was, unfortunately, the designer told him, the designer made a design in such a way that the entire operation maintenance was to happen from the street level. The managing director is a very close friend of mine. He picked up the phone and told me, sir, the moment everything is going to happen from the street level, I will not be able to sell my flat. There will be a bad smell problem. You have to do something about it. Please understand, sir, I'm not talking theory. Last week we handed over the plan. We took it as a challenge and we ensured that every single operational maintenance is taking place from the cellar level. Today, it is going to be a model in Hyderabad. There are maybe hundreds of, plants which are operating from the street level. I tell you, see, when you open a manhole for bar clean chamber cleaning, the obnoxious smell comes out. Will any customer tolerate? Now, how we did it, I think, it will be taking a lot of my time to tell that here. I can do probably one thing. How we did it technologically, using our own mind, using the vendor's expertise of 25 years, I can make a small paper with photographs, with videos. Today, it is an excellent thing. Now, probably, I feel so far, none of the people in Hyderabad at least would have thought in terms of thinking of seeing that the entire design which is supposed to happen in terms of operational maintenance to the street level is shifted to cellar without any problem whatsoever. So technology definitely will play a wonderful role. There's no doubt about it. I think the way Madam Mary Eggert was telling about the various technologies is astounding. So people are going way ahead of what we are thinking. We are still in the nascent stage. We are not perfected even at the nascent level. Now, before I end in another 30 seconds, so I would ask one question to Madam Mary Eggert. Now, I don't know whether in their scheme of things, they have flood water harvesting. I don't know whether I am coining this as a new word or the world already knows it. Today, I want to tell you, last week or quite this week, there are floods in New Jersey and New York. I tell you why people are not thinking of flood water harvesting. Now, I can tell you, I will invite floods. Floods are good as long as there is 100% flood water harvesting. In Japan, they are doing it. They are having, voluminous places, under their structures, collecting rainwater. So why in an advanced country like the US, they have not thought of this? Now floods are going to happen in future continuously because of the climate change. Should we not think in terms of, seeing that every single drop of water coming through flood is not flooding the roads, but they are harvested. I would like a simple answer for this from Dr. Mary Eggert. Number one, whether they are thinking in this line or whether it is not there. I just want to know, sir.
Oh, what a great question. Very.
We can't hear you. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, got it. So, Siddhapati, thank you so much for that very smart question. We happen to be hosting a 3-part webinar series this fall that is all about water reuse, and it includes the wastewater management. So they are very active and see that as a means to address California's drought and the problems that we have in the West. And so I will put a link in here. We have a partner, a publishing partner that promotes these programs to about 180,000 people. So they're very well attended, and they'll give you continuing education credits as well. But a very important point. And you saw in San Francisco and also in Vancouver, which is Canada, they are requiring buildings to do all of their treatment on site because they can't build out to the municipalities. And also the energy efficiency of having distributed systems makes tremendous sense. But we don't call it wastewater or black water as much as we call it new water, nutrients, energy, and water from wastewater. So,
Madam, I am asking about the flood water harvesting.
Yeah, the black water where you're taking the sludge away.
Sorry, no, he's talking about how when cities inundate, there is a challenge of so much excess water on the street. You know what happened in New Orleans maybe 2-3 years ago. And it's like he said, it's happened now south of New York City, New Jersey, and so on. So his question is, are there solutions from among people in the tech showcase who can address this challenge of inundation in cities and microzones in India?
Pure rainwater. Inundation with pure rainwater.
The inundation with the rainwater for treatment, or with the
No.
black water? I thought you meant toilet water, like wastewater.
You know, he's talking about how, let's say, an area of a square kilometer in a city is suddenly inundated with rainwater. He wants to know if there are systems, technologies, solutions which can harvest that water and make the use of it at the citywide level.
Yeah, and they go into storage tanks. So I'm putting a few solutions in here. OptiRTC is one. Fluence Corporation out of Israel is another one that handles things on site. And then also there are solutions that cut the waste completely so that you can reduce the cartage or the transport issues. So, but I think you're talking about the treatment on site and AquaCycle. So we call those distributed systems for local treatment of, and then there's also the storage component of that. And then an IoT component for monitoring how much water is going down.
Sure. Mr. Rao, short response to you is this: there are a few companies in that list that she has that she hosted that she shared earlier. Maybe you can look up that website, or we can help you look up that website, the GWW Global Waterworks website. You know, the younger generation, people like Ganesh Shankar are very quick on it. He already has registered as a member. You know, even as we were speaking. So you and I will take a little time on these things, Mr. Rao. We are analog people. They are the digital guys, you know, the digital dudes, as they say these days. So
actually, in the website, Google sign-on or third-party sign-on is really good. It's very fast.
You see that?
Kudos to whoever built it.
Oh, Mary has done a wonderful job of the website. It's so. I mean, to me, it's very. I mean, it's very easy even for somebody like me, and I'm very daft at these systems. So, you know, yeah, you're right. Thank you. So coming from Ganesh, Mary, I can tell you it's a very rich compliment. Whoever did this for you.
Yes, yes. And you all can have a focus group. We could have a WOW group where you store files and where you, so we're happy to set that up. I think Murali and Usha and Ganesh, we were talking about that. Right. So it could be in the India group, the WWM group, or it could be independent. So
Yeah. This is the third time that Mary has invited us to take this up as an offer. Ganesh Shanbag is the culprit. He has not done this yet. You have to join up with Murli, and maybe you can bring in Ganesh Shankar. So two Ganeshas can possibly make for, since the festival is also coming up, maybe you guys can do some magic,
Yeah, sure,
And,
sure.
and like, see, the important thing is that, like Raj said earlier, and Mary said it very elegantly the last time, and I don't remember the phrase, the way she phrased it. There's only water. There's no wastewater. There's no fresh water. There's only water. 100 years ago, or maybe 2000 years ago, when the Romans talked about getting long distance water, into towns and cities, it was fine. It was okay as long as we were a small population in 1928, 1930, when this kind of distributed water supply mechanisms came into cities. We were no more than 1 billion people. We are today 7.5, going to 9. There is no way we can continue to think the way engineers thought in the 1930s. So how do we get first, all of us to accept, that is the convinced ones, shall we say, those who are already evangelizing. We need to first say that, okay, in my apartment, I will do what I can to get people to accept wastewater treatment to fresh water. That's one. Neil Matthews, for example, says that he lives in some layout where there are probably 1,000 homes, individual homes, plotted and built later by people. And he says, well, I have done this, but nobody is interested in doing it. Can Neil Matthews step out of his house, go to the next 5 people or 10 families around his home, like Mamta said earlier on, and say, hey guys, I have done this. I am water rich for the next 90 days. Why are you guys not doing it? I mean, can you see sense in what I have done? Sort of thing. Can Neil do that? And, Saxena is not here. He's done some wonderful things. Maybe he should do it. And Saxena keeps saying, well, you guys have to come visit my house and take what I have done and, make it happen in other places. But my point is, Saxena has to come and tell the story. Like I was thinking that even as someone was speaking just now, I told myself when Mr. Rao was saying that he has done this very unique STP system in Hyderabad, I thought in the Tech Talk series, we will give him 20 minutes the next Friday and have him tell the story and record that, edit it a bit like we have been doing, and ask Mary to put it up in that, the focus group, India group or WOW group or whatever it's going to be called. So these are things that we need to constantly be doing. And the other is, Mary, to you, I must say, not that you don't know, there is a fund of such video extracts that we have done. And like you very gently pointed out the last time, maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you have such wonderful things that you guys have done, but it's all over the place. You guys have to know how to put it together. And I honestly don't know how to go about doing it. I'd like to think that, the two Ganeshas and maybe Murli and, Musha is digital again, so I can't count on her. Maybe the rest of the young team here of some of these interns and research associates, maybe they can get together and see how they pursue this, flag it down. Ganesh Shanbag, can I request you to do that, since unfortunately you are here today and Murli is not?
Yes, sir. So first,
please.
we
Both
will
of
brainstorm on this,
Yeah.
and anyway, we have a dedicated WhatsApp group as well with all these young minds.
Right.
First, let me request everyone to just go and get the membership done,
Right.
and we will grab on what can be done and
Right.
possibly discuss with Mary as well if there is some kind of a content we want to reuse.
Yeah.
We will take this forward. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Correct. Yeah.
and. Yeah, possibly as you rightly said, when you were talking, right, it reminded me of the talk which in this AF itself, Mr. Anand from IGBC gave, right? He gave a lot of examples where people have built green homes which are certified, and a lot of their solutions were non-standard, right? They were not the standard solutions at all. And as we all know, India runs on Jugaad, and we should have a platform to promote such Jugaad. So that's what comes to my mind at this moment. And yeah, we'll make this happen.
Mr. Rao, anything else from you? Would you want to share any thoughts with Mary Eggert?
No, sir, I already told. I think Yes, probably we'll go offline and through you. So more on the floodwater harvesting. So probably
Yes.
if you understood my question correctly, or I'm not able to present my question properly. So I'm clearly talking about the serious floods which are happening right now
I got it.
in US. So
That's right.
a country like US, should think that is a blessing. So you should invite floods and see that not a single drop of water passes through the roads. So what is it being done, to be done?
We'll track that. We'll track that.
In Japan,
Yeah. So unfortunately, even US is a country like India with varied geographical conditions, right? So whatever works for New York doesn't work for Texas, doesn't work for California, and up north it doesn't work in Seattle, right?
Right.
So again,
Yeah.
like there should be a lot of diverse solutions, and there cannot be a centralized solution for this.
Right. Right. And to
common solution. I'm only saying,
yeah.
understand that there is a serious potential in the flood. How do we?
Understood. Got that, Mr. Rao. And like you said, I will see that I track this and come back to you with options. And
Sir, I have a question to Miss Mary. I
Yes.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
See, in my friends in other cities, when I used to tell them go for rainy filter, do the rainwater harvesting, they always say that we have abundance of water. How do they tackle that? Because one time they'll have abundance of water, the other time they'll have flood, and then they'll have drought. How do you approach such people? I mean, have they done that in countries where there are abundance of water, but still they are facing a lot of water problems?
Sure. To me, before, if Mary wants to respond, she can. But I will say it's never about abundance of water. It's about managing water. If we don't want to manage it, in Kochi, for instance, which receives 2.5 times the rainfall that we get in Bangalore, 2,500 mm rainfall in Kochi. Yes. They buy tanker water at 300 rupees per 1,000 liters. Today in Bangalore, you will buy at 120 rupees, right? Or 100 rupees. They buy at 300 rupees in Kochi. And through the year, Neil Matthew is from Kerala, he will know. So it is always about managing our water. Water is never about water. It's about water management. And well, as we have realized over the last, say, 10, 15 years, water is not about water. Water is about energy. In a city like ours, we have found today that for just 1,000 crore liters or 10 billion liters, we have 275,000 kilograms or kg of carbon, which is what? 0.25 million tons equivalent of carbon emission for every 1,000 crore or 10 billion liters, which is only 5 days of water demand or water used in Bangalore. Just 5 days. So you multiply that by whatever, 360 divided by 5. And you know that you're spending some 30 million tons equivalent of carbon and therefore energy. So when we talk water, we are not talking water. We are talking about how we can make it into low carbon cities. Ganesh Shankar talked about how the president of the Bangalore Apartments Federation was here last time. Mary was also here listening rapidly to the two gentlemen who spoke. And essentially what drew BAF to want to be with us was this talk about carbon. When we broke that down in a solution dashboard, Ganesh Shankar, to you and to the rest of the people here, and we showed people how, for instance, if you're an apartment of 130 flats, like say Suresh Bhai's apartment is, that you save X amount of carbon every year. Because if you do 100,000 liters of water every day, you are actually doing about 36 million liters in a year, 360 days, right? And of that 36 million liters, if I knock the 3 zeros, I've got 36,000 kiloliters. I multiply that by 5 units of power for drawing that water or hauling the water from, from Kaveri to some long distance. I'm talking 180,000 units of electricity, right? And for you to use that 1 unit of electricity, you're actually having to generate 4 units of electricity in some thermal plant, coal-based plant, as it is in India. In fact, even the United States depends about 20% on coal, while we depend 65% on coal. So you've got 720,000 kgs of coal, right? 720 tons of coal, all for what? for one apartment of 128 flats of where Suresh Bhai resides. So if I can go for local solutions there, can you imagine what happens, Ganesh Shankar? Now, if you came in as a service provider and said, well, Mr. Hotshot, I know how to provide you solutions for this. The cost is not very much. It will save the country a lot and do a whale of good for the country. No one is willing to listen. So it goes back to what Mary presented so beautifully. You know, who we know, who we need to know.
You know,
I'm glad. Yes, please.
Oh, I was just going to add, I echo what Hari said. Once you tie in the energy, it becomes interesting. But also what Ganesh Shankar said earlier, the policy part. The UK, as an example, has a policy that says all utilities need to show they have their customers engaged. And so they use these devices and this education to let them know how they can use water. And then they reward them with little water saving shower heads or recognition or things like that. In the US, we don't have that. So we have abundant water and no one cares. But the equivalent of a small car moves inside and outside everyone's home every day underneath our walls, and we're wasting 30% of that water. And so it does need to be an education program, but also we believe in the US, we have something at our churches. It's about financial stewardship, and everyone goes to these programs to learn how to be a better financial steward. But we have a few people who want to be the environmental stewards because our God gave us water and energy, you know, the sun, and we don't pay attention to how we're stewarding those. But people don't like to be associated with waste. So we're hoping to create a program that allows people to say, smart stewards, you know, help the planet, help our people, you know, are just good examples. And it's what you raised, Mamta, is the ultimate question. Water's free, it's falling from the air. How do we get people to care? And it's about work like you creating inspirational examples like you're doing with your apartments and using those to get other people excited.
Have you done anything for the farming industry?
Very good question. Yeah. So we not really, but they use 70% of the water. So it's really the area that's most needed. And what they're doing is more reuse on site there. They are doing more recycling, more rainwater capture to get their water.
If you can send me an example of that or a slide, I would be very grateful to you. I have something in mind to connect farmers.
So what I would request is that you become a member of GWW. And,
I've already done. I've already become.
Wonderful. You put up your question there, and knowing Mary, she's hugely not just passionate but extremely diligent on the track on it, and you will get some answer or the other. Yeah.
And also she has put a scheduler link on Calendly there, so that will also really help. And
then you have to help Mamta then. See, Mamta is like me. Again, analog. So you please help her.
Sure.
Shankar, you wanted to say something, correct?
Yeah, so going with that example of the carbon emission,
yes,
right? And you are trying to connect how much is the carbon emission that you are going to save by doing conservation.
Yes.
I was just trying to understand, because you are building, WOW in a really amazing way. Is there something that you can do something? I'm sure you would have come across this water credits, right? I mean, thinking about it.
Yes.
So, but is there something like WOW credits that you can come up with? Because it's more than water credits, WOW credits.
What I would say is, leaders like you, this is a platform. I'm incompetent, and trust me on this. I'm honestly incompetent beyond a certain point. Platform is created. Players like you are the future of India, not just the future of your business. Please come on board. Tell us what we need to do. Sorry, Mary. Use people like Mary. Shamelessly ask her and say, look, this is what I want from you. She will be delighted. The more you use people like us, we are garbage cans. The more you use people like us, you see that. You see that. That's what Mary says. So Ganesh, come in and say that you can do something like this.
No, I'm just thinking, because this is very complicated. Water is social, political, everything. So a WOW credit would be something where there is one part of is your cost of water that you're buying.
Sure.
The rest of it all becomes WOW credits, right? I mean, the WOW credit should be somewhere
Okay.
levelized with
Yeah.
the socio-economical, local, geographical aspect associated to that.
Sure.
And people say, because you say 1 kiloliter of water in BTM lead is not same as saying in Whitefield, right? They're different.
Exactly.
So WOW is like that agent which comes up with that credit, saying that depending all this parameter, you have programmers here. Yeah, I mean Excel is just enough, right? And try to come up with those WOW credits, and some way we have to find the this is the downstream part. We have to find the upstream part. Like
Right.
Somebody should be willing to do transactions with WOW credits. Like assume you sign up with Tata Trust and say you understand WOW credits as legitimate and help us do something about it. Whether it is I go and buy something in the shop and I use WOW credit. I don't know what is that exactly. It can't be generic. It has to be very specific to something to do with water, right? I mean, if I'm buying something, I mean, that compensates for the WOW credit. If I'm buying a pair of jeans, I get discount because pair of jeans consumes 1,400 or 7,000 liters of water to make a pair of jeans.
Right.
WOW credits, if I can actually get a discounted pair of jeans from a specific merchandise.
I got it.
I would love it, right? I would want to do more of it. I would
Yeah.
actually enforce my apartment authority. Guys, get this WOW credit so that I can buy my pair of jeans at a lower price.
Right.
I don't know. These are very
In
hypothetical.
fact, Mary has just now put up a link for you. You could possibly copy paste that on gamification, and there may be a model that we can try. There's another person from somewhere, from Indore or someplace like that, who has been talking to me. I will get that fellow to speak to you also. See, these are things that you guys understand better. I don't want to sound older, but my point is that you come from a generation where you guys were very, savvy on the process. You learned it that way, I mean, when I went, I was in Harrisburg, Mary, many years ago, and what did we have? Those green screens that you used to have at that point of time, and LED screens and so on.
Mhm.
I mean, word processors. In 1985, we didn't have anything more than word processors. So, sorry.
Yeah, that's when I started too. So I know we had the modem with a sound.
Exactly. And also, so you guys need to take this up. Very lovely idea, Ganesh, and we must pursue some things like. See, we need such Pascal's law. This business of levering things. We need some game changers like this, which can take the story elsewhere. Sorry, Mary, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, just this is our dream, actually, Ganesh, because if everyone, what happened is we got so smart, we disconnected everyone from the water, putting the pipes in where we don't see what's coming in and out. But if we can reconnect everyone personally with their water, just like a Fitbit, that's what this company we worked with for a few years. And we hope to introduce this in the US in January, with a simple app that will allow people to go in and see their water savings, but then compete with schools and then get the visibility on this city's so efficient, this city's not, you raise it up and you get all the data across the whole country. And same with India could do it. We offered it to South Africa during their times. So everyone just needs a simple way to be reconnected and be aware. And if you want to partner on that, we have a group in the community about water efficiency, but we can't, Dr. Hari's so kind in saying I do everything. We're realizing we absolutely can't. So we'd love for you to run that for India. Perhaps you could introduce that app and we could have a movement across the school children in every country. And just one other thing, I know it's often thought that every location is different, but that's a big handicap for us. Like all technology, every home needs a unified communication system, or every distributed water system, everyone needs to think about a recyclable and completely reusable system. So these technologies play in every area. It's just that what they need, the mix of solutions needs to be a different, customized to that local area. And we want to try to get away from that. It all has to be local, because then you have all of these different engineering reports that are recreated, and when they could use some of this stuff more easily and scale our efforts more rapidly. And you can challenge me because I'm actually not out in the field doing the work, but I see the technologies apply in many different areas. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. I'm sure the two Ganeshas will know how to combine, forces and come back on. Very
Yes.
lovely session, even if, sorry, go on, Mary.
I just wanted to have Dr. Pradeep with International Center for Clean Water. He's
Yes.
in Chennai. You mentioned him.
Yes,
I
yes.
think we should involve his team in this effort too.
Absolutely. I've been speaking to both Pradeep and the CEO of the ICCW. In fact, Saturday we had a very, the day before we had a very long conversation for about 2 hours on how we can bring synergies, he knows Raj also well. So we will be talking to those people too, to see how, if we springboard this idea of vow credit or whatever that is, in ways that we can make that more appealing to the common person who is walking to a store and picking up something or the other, then I think we have possibly another way we are bushwhacking these guys, who don't want to accept these ideas, So, well, it sounds crazy that we have to, actually be using subterfuges of this kind in order to make people accept what is so good for them. I don't know how to beat that, but that's a story, I guess, that we all have to live it.
Yes.
We are used to socialism. This is the new way of glorified socialism. Nothing more than that.
Wonderful session, 6:34. I think we shouldn't overextend it and, flag interest on it. Thank you so much, Mary, for, I honestly, when I wrote to you, I know. When I wrote to you this, early morning for you, must have been about 2 a.m. your time when I sent that mail. I didn't expect you to say yes, but then you came in and you made the day for us. Suresh Prakash, finally, thank you for putting on the video. You've been there the last time and this time too. Thank you for being here. Obviously, you're listening to all that's happening. Would you want to say a few words before we close, Suresh Prakash?
Yeah, definitely. I have a bandwidth problem. That's why the video was kept off. Sure. And I've been attending the WOW session from day one, registered as Prakriya Foundation.
Yes.
1 or 2 in, but then I've been actively listening to you people, sometimes commented certain things. And I'm very impressed by today's discussion. And I'm basically from Bangalore, and I'm a member of Bangalore Apartment Federation. I am in the RWA committee, and I've been looking forward to see how we can find solution. We have in our area, the problems are like, we are doing a little bit of rainwater harvesting. We have a family, we have about 700 families staying here. But unfortunately, the thing is, the levels of water are so much here about in the ground level that the water percolates on the lift pit and the parking lots.
Oh.
So we are able to actually capture do 100% of rainwater harvesting. We have showcased a little bit here and there, doing like out of the 6 blocks we have done in 4 blocks, 2 blocks are still pending, kind of thing. But the water percolates, and this time it has been raining so heavily. Those waters are directly entering the sump water also. Though I don't know what are for that. We are trying to study. We try to call certain people to see if the water is actually coming from the ground or from where it is leaking and coming in.
We can offer you some solutions there, Suresh. The other is, how many flats is that when you say your 4 blocks?
700. We have 664 flats and 36 villas here.
700. Okay.
Yeah, there are about out of which about 400 flats because we have 3 associations here. So we have.
That means you have got about 10 crore liters, about 100 million liters a year.
Yeah.
Of that, if you did even 50% of that, you have got 5 crore liters that you can save. Even if I took only 500-600 liters, 400,000 liters per day, I'm saying. So you got a large amount of water, and I can tell you this. That on that quantum, if you did just 50 lakh liters, you are saving. I don't have to tell you. Multiply that, by 100, and you know what you're saving as money. Tremendous amounts of money. So we can step in and make that happen for you if you are interested. And like Mary said, you see, this is not a meeting.
this is not just some forum. This is a movement.
Yeah.
The whole idea is to see that, and if you don't mind, Ganesh, I must correct you here. Not that you were not right or something. This is not a forum for solution providers. You are saying now people who need solutions need to be brought together in one place. This is the place for people to come together. In fact, from the very first day, Usha has been saying also that we need to get such people who are solution seekers, not solution providers. So, Suresh, we will be very happy to connect with you. I saw a mail also, one exchange this morning when you registered and all that. So let's see how we can come in and, do whatever we can to help you, right?
Definitely. Sir,
Sir,
definitely.
I got one excellent idea.
Yes,
Start talking about carbon credit now.
Wonderful.
Because
We'll do
people
that.
are buying water, buying carbon credit. Companies, we should start targeting them, saying that, see, if you save water, you are actually getting carbon credits.
Yes, ma'am. We will find ways of doing that. Mary, I must tell you, Mamta is so ebullient. That is the only word I can bring. Every time she's got so much energy that she, peps up meetings and makes us all, cheers us all up. She cheers us all up.
I agree. Thank you, Mamta. And thank you all. This is really a pleasure. So
thank you. Thank you so much.